Hi there everybody, it's Stamping Up UK independent demonstrator Halsey from slimandstylish.com. Thank you very much for joining me today. Today I'm going to be creating with the Warm and Toasty Cling stamp set. I love this. I think all the little critters are just so cute, and this is the card that I have made with the set. The set is from the Winter Mini Catalogue from Stamping Up, and it's available to purchase from my store, which is just in the corner down here. So it's www.slimandstylish.stampingup.net, but it is only available until the end of December. So if you like this set, be sure to add it to your basket, and everything I'm using today you will find in my store. So to get started, I have got 2 sheets of Whisper White cardstock. These are 9 centimetres wide. Oh, sorry, frog in my throat. 9 centimetres wide by 13.25 centimetres wide, and they are both the exact same size, which is a little bit important here. Okay. I have also got a scrap piece of Whisper White cardstock, so I've already been crafting and creating, and I have cut one of our large ovals out, so I've got some scrap down here because these lovely little critters that are on here I have fussy cut out so that they've just got a little bit of a shadow and dimension behind them. You don't have to do it if you're not a big fussy cutting lover. You can just stamp them onto the panels, that's not a problem. I just wanted to make mine pop out. So my Memento ink pad and my little critters. Okay, there's my singing bunnies. Aren't they the cutest? And my mice, which I'm going to pop sideways because there is room on the paper for them sideways, but as you can see when they're actually cut out they are the correct way. Okay, and I will pre-warn you before I make you sit around me cutting tails that I have actually already done some and pre-cut them, so you don't have to sit and watch me fussy cut. But I will just show you how I coloured them in. So I used the dark smoky slate around the ears of the bunnies, just like that, really not like masses to do here, and just under the arms so it gave them a little bit of shadow. And on the mice I used it just down the nose and on the ears, like that. Okay. I then used the light smoky slate just to blend all that in. And his arms. And don't forget his tummy. That's down there. Okay, and I did that for all of the bunnies. And then for the mice, again, I coloured all the rest. I did not do the centre of the ears, I just did around them. Okay, and then don't forget her little arms, her little hands and her little legs. Okay. So I did that for all of the bunnies. For the sleigh, I used dark and light soft suede. So all I did was this bit here, which I thought actually looked a bit like a bathtub. I did that in the dark, and then I just did the inside of this sled here, just a few little dots. I didn't colour it, just a few little dots, and then just around the edge of the bathtub, sleigh, just there. And then I used the light to colour the rest in. So I went over the dark on here. The dark was just there to serve as a shadow because obviously the light will ricochet off this and shade it on. And then around the sled, blending in that corner. And then just with a brush tip because it was easier, just coloured the rest in. There you go. For the rest here, I used Just Jade, and I just did the light Just Jade. I didn't really see much point in doing lots of blending, and I only did the big parts of the scarf and the music lyrics on the book. And when I fussy cut them out, I cut out obviously the instruments, because you can't really see, so not the instruments, the music notes. So while I had Just Jade out, I also used it on the bow, and then I coloured the rest of the bauble in with Light So Saffron, all in one go, straight over the top. For my little girl mouse, I put her with a dark Rococo Rose. There we are. Everyone who watches every week to see how I say that, because I can't say it. Rococo Rose. So I used the dark on her shoes and on her scarf, and then I just coloured in the rest of her with the light. Okay. For little Jimmy Mouse over here, dark balmy blue on his cuffs and on his Wellington booties, and then light balmy blue for the rest of his jumper. Nice and simples. And then, as I said, I fussy cut them out and got these two lovely little pieces here. Okay, the sentiments I'm going to be using are Here's a Cool Yule and Sharing Christmas. So I've already got them out and put them on my blocks for you. And you're still going to want your Memento ink pad. Okay, before we do that, I'm actually going to start chopping. So hopefully you'll see that this looks a little bit mismatched, up, down, round, but it sits still in a square and it is popped up on these panels off the base. So it is sort of 3D. Okay, so I've got my trimmer and I'm working on 2 inches. So I want to cut at 4 inches. Okay, so it's going to be 2 and 2. So if I actually just cut that 2 and 2, that would be easier to see. So cut the cardstock. This was the 2 pieces of cardstock that were the same size. So I'm going to cut both of them down to 2 inches. So it's created 2 2-inch panels. And then I'm going to cut both of them at 2 inches. Okay, so then you've got 2 that are this size and 2 that are that size. So you can see now how your panel is going to take way, like that, like a little window. Okay. Don't think that's right and stick it down. We've got a bit of amendment to do, but it's only a tiny little bit, and I do it once I've done the stamping. So I'm just going to pop these onto the card straight away. And for the mice, I found it easier to use the side parts of the dimensionals. So these are just as good as the big bits, but they're a little bit smaller, so they fit into some smaller gaps. Okay, so I'm just going to stick those into the middle of that window. And I'm going to stick this one into the middle of the bigger window. Doesn't matter which one, they're both all the same size. Okay, so those are those 2 panels. For these 2, this is where the stamping is going to be. And these are also going to be the 2 that we alter just slightly. So I'm going to stamp Here's to a Cool Yule. And I'm going to stamp Sharing Christmas Cheer. Okay, oh no, didn't like that. That was not in the centre at all. So let me explain to you about the stamps. I love the cling sheets that go on the background. So we get cling sheets with our stamp sets, you just peel them off and stick them onto the back, and then they stick onto your blocks and you can see exactly where you're stamping, and I think they're awesome. My mum, who is a crafter as well, she doesn't like them. She prefers it to be easy to put these on and off because she struggles in pulling them off when they've got the cling background on. Personal preference. But this is her favourite stamp set, so I'm going to leave it exactly as it is. We have a little stamp set sharing, but some of them are definitely hers, so this one is one of those. So what I'm going to do is, now I've actually stamped them, I want to take off, it is that one there, so it's 1/8 of an inch off each one, just over. So I've actually stamped it so I can work out where I want to take them. On this one, I'd stamped it in the middle, so I just need to take 1/8 off the top and 1/8 off the bottom. But because of this one, I stamped it more down the bottom, I just want to take 2/8 off. So I know it was, oh, I want to take it off the top. I want to take it off whichever bit's got the most white on. That was just almost, wasn't it? So you've just took a tiny bit off there. And then that allows you to have the gaps between each one. So it's only a slight bit you're taking off, but it just allows you to have that sort of gap between each one and between the side. So if you check now, and what you want to be able to do is put them next to each other like that and still have your square. Not quite, so I'm just going to whip a tiny little bit off this one. Still got my square. So then I want the piece of Whisper White that is the exact same size, so that's this bit. Okay, and I'm going to be popping these onto here so close to the edge that I think actually as I'm recording it you might not even see the difference between the edge and the actual piece of card. So let me just, it is literally right on the very corner, a couple of millimeters only. Okay, so it's hardly anything. It's just going to give that panel just a little bit of shadow. And you want to do the exact same bit with the top bit. So like I said, it's just off the edge. And you have just got a slight gap then in the middle and a slight gap on the edges. Okay, so hopefully you can see it is such a slight gap, but it does stand up. And you might think, is that important? It actually is in a panel card. I really love shadows. And I think when you're doing a panel card, getting the shadows right just sets it off. And also, I didn't want my panels to be straight. I wanted them to be different. So that's why they're not straight. And you might have my head in shot, but so I can see that that's straight at the top. Straight at the bottom. Just a little tiny gap. Let me just pull that off because that's a little bit too much of a gap. There we go. Okay, so you've just got a slight gap between each bit. Okay, so you can see the shadows and you can see the panels. So now I've got my red ribbon. This is from the winter catalogue as well. And I've actually got some of our Seal Plus because I find this is some of the best for doing the ribbon. And I'm just going to pop a little bit just on the edge. I'm going to run the ribbon all the way around. Meet it to that side. If you know me, you know I'm a good lover of faux bows. Really am. Can't beat a good faux bow. Not only that, I love saying it, faux bow. FOBO. So I'm just going to tie myself a little tiny bow. This is the sheer ribbon and it's beautiful because you can still see through it, but it's got that real dark shade of red on the outside, so I quite like this one. We used to have a white ribbon like this and you colour it with your blends. That was really nice too, so there we go. Once you're happy with it, I'm not happy with it, I'm going to start again. Sometimes when I'm doing bows, I think it's a lot easier, if you don't like it, to deconstruct it, make yourself a new one, rather than fiddle around for ages trying to get it your way, because all you're just going to do is crinkle the ribbon and ruin it for when you try and do your other one later. So that's nice. Okay, and then that's just going to go on there. So I'm just going to use a little bit of Seal Plus again down there. Actually, that hasn't stuck at all on that side, so I'm just going to grab me a glue dot. Stick my bow on. And then really simple, the rest of this card, you just want your card base. So your thick piece of Whisper White that's cut in half, scored in half. I'm just going to fold that and burnish it. And I'm just going to stick that onto there. I'm sticking it flat. Now the tip is if you've got your Seal Plus out, and you're using your Seal Plus on your Whisper White cardstock, it's perfectly safe to do so. Just don't press too hard, otherwise you're going to pull the card up like I did there, because it's a very, very strong adhesive. So you just want to press lightly and it will work fine. Or just use your normal stamping seal, but I haven't, mine ran out in a video earlier and I haven't put the refill back in yet. It's very easy to put a refill in, but I just haven't done it. So I'm just going to grab some of the rhinestones now, some of the larger ones. I'm going to pop them on like that, and that is my panel card. What do you think? Cute, isn't it? So this is the Warm and Toasty stamp set. Like I said, it's available from my store. The shop is in the corner. My blog is slimandstylish.com, so you can read a bit more about this card and any of my other projects on there. If you do like it, please do give me a thumbs up and pop by again soon. Thanks everybody. I will see you later. Bye.